Hi folks, 2018 question 1 here. So I'm using this question for our sketching tutorial this week, and we're going to do a bit of shading at the end. So I've gone ahead and I've set up a crate for this, okay? And it'll all fit into this crate, bar there's a little curved piece to go on the top, but we'll worry about that at the end, okay? So I'll start off here now, and do all your lines lightly. All your lines will be parallel to 1, 2 or 3. And make it a decent size. Now you'll probably be doing this on a A4 at home, and that's totally fine. So when you have it down about as far as that, folks, you can now start to go and do your heavier lines in, okay? Now that is the object pretty much drawn there, right? But what we're going to have a look at today is I want to do a bit of work with shading. So we're going to say that the sun is shining in here from the back left hand side, okay? So obviously if we're doing stuff there with wood, and this is all going to be wood. Now you could apply color to it as well if you want. You can put in some grain direction there for the wood if you'd like. Okay, but all the closest stuff to the sun should be lighter, and then we're going to darken out the right hand side, or pieces that we think would be hidden somewhat from direct light. Okay, so we'll start off, and probably the first handiest thing is to give it all a nice fairly light tone. Keep your shading direction going in the one direction if you can. Now, that's the first light sketch done. So what you want to do now is you want to build it up in layers. So if you look at this for an example, there you might have just a general light tone. Then if we want to get the left hand side, we'll say for example heavier, you'll go back over it, then maybe go over this piece again if you wanted to get it even heavier. So you're building up a gradual tone to it, okay? Now this, as we said here, would be all fairly light. So I'm just going to go around and finish off the edges. And usually on the end grain, you'll find it's a bit darker. So we could do that in a small bit heavier, the end grain. Now, so we'll leave it at that. We're not going to go into massive detail, but it is good to give it a bit of shading, you know, heavier in some places as opposed to others, just to build up that kind of more realistic effect on it, okay? Now, the last thing we might have a look at doing, you're asked here, how would you join that shelf into the side piece here? Well, possibly you could do different variations, of course. I think one of the handiest things might be to go for would be if you were going, and we'll draw it smaller this time. If that was our piece going down there, you can flip it over, make it as big as you want if you want to do it on the other side of your sheet. But if I had to pick a joint, I'd probably go for something like a housing joint that could sit down into a stopped housing joint. And you could do one down the bottom as well if you wanted. And you could show your piece coming up that's going to slot into that. Now you'd want to do this in a bit bigger really when you're doing this next year. And we could just throw in one or two of the egg holes there. And so that's a stopped housing joint. So that's it, folks.